Hello,
Malak, good morning.
good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, how do you feel right now? Is it better?
Yeah, I'm up,
Thanks
alhamdulillah.
God, at least everything is okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think today we have to complete discussing the punctuation marks.
Okay.
We cannot deny, Malak, that the punctuation marks, again, in writing are extremely important just to write an academic piece of writing. So I think we have to complete discussing the punctuation marks. So I suggest just to start talking with colon. So let me open this image. Let me show you the punctuation marks that we have covered and the punctuation mark that we have to start discussing today, which is colon. So we discussed the quotation marks, the hyphen, which is really important. The comma is extremely important, the period. So this is it. These are the four punctuation marks that we have covered till now. So I think today we have to discuss the comma. So notice this is the shape of column. So we notice that we have two dots, one is above. So this is the meaning of column. So now let's discuss the usage of column. But first of all, you have to differentiate between column and semicolon. So this is the column, the two dots, as you notice in the picture, and this is the semicolon. So this is not another dot or period, but it is a comma, and the full stop should be above the comma. So now,
Okay.
what do I mean by, what are the steps that I have to consider if I want to use the column? Okay, so now let's try just to discuss this page, which is saying columns have many different uses. So number one, they can be used to introduce a quotation, an example, a series, or maybe an explanation. Two, they can also be used to separate two independent clauses. Finally, or three, the colon can be used to show emphasis. So what do I mean by every usage or use? Now I think we have to go into details. Okay, now rule number one is saying we have to use the colon to introduce an item or list if the list comes after a complete sentence. Let's take a look at this example. This example is saying we need many things. So notice that if I want to say many things, I'm talking about items in a list.
Mm,
So we need many things for that party. Colon. So what are the things that you need for the party? I said that they are many. So what are they? Let me tell you the things that we need for the party. So colon number one, cups. Number two, napkins. Number three, ice. And finally, balloons. So these are the four items in a certain list. And I mentioned that they are really more than, absolutely more than, I mean, I'm talking about items, and I said many things, and these are the things that I meant for the party. So notice that here I use the column just to mention the things that I need again for the party. The next example is saying, last year I visited many countries. So what are the countries that you visited? Let me tell you, colon, Spain, number one, Italy, number two, Portugal, number three, and France, which is the last one. So one, two, three, four. These are the countries that I visited the last year. And don't forget, Malak, that I have to write commas to separate the items. Okay?
okay.
Yeah, as we explained in using the comma, absolutely, because This is very important because we have to use the comma if we remember just to, or if we are talking about 3 items and more. Okay.
Yeah.
The last example is saying she has had 3 boyfriends. Number 1 is Kyle. Number 2 is George. And Aaron is number 3. So,
Okay.
and we don't have to forget the commas. So, who are the 3 boyfriends? Let me tell you. Colon, number 1, number 2, number 3. So, notice that I mentioned approximately when I want to mention the things or maybe countries or boyfriends. So, notice that I said many things, many countries, 3 boyfriends, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the first rule about using the column. So this is it, or this is the extra information that you have to add just to if you want to use the column. So if you want to say, for example, we need many things for the party, which are the following: number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So this is what I mean by using the column.
Okay.
Okay. So now we can use columns to provide further clarification in a certain sentence. So if you want to add a certain clarification within the sentence, absolutely we have to use the column. So notice the example. The example is saying we have 2 options. What are they? Let me tell you the 2 options. Column 1, eat at home, comma, 2, go to the restaurant. So notice that this is the clarification I want to mention in a certain sentence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, and I said 2 options, so I have to write the column. The next example is saying, I'm not sure what to do. So what should I do? Let me tell you. Column, quit my job, this is number 1, or stay for another year. This is the second thing that I'm not sure just to do. Okay?
Okay.
So this is it. Please be careful about using the column. Now, we can use columns to show emphasis. Emphasis is just to make sure about something or something like that. So notice that the first example is saying she was always there for one reason. What is for one person or one reason, if I want to say one reason? Who is that person? Let me tell you. Colon, her mother.
Mother.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the emphasis that I made. The next example is saying, I finally met my lifelong hero. Who is he or she? Colon, Nicolas Cage. So this is the
Okay.
emphasis I want to mention. Finally, we have one goal. What is it? What is that goal that you meant? Colon, win this tournament. Okay?
Okay.
So this is it. Now, if you want to emphasize something, absolutely, you have to write the column and you have to write that emphasis. Okay. Now, we have to use columns to separate independent clauses. Now, a column can be used to separate 2 independent clauses when the second clause is directly or directly related to the first clause, and when the emphasis is on the second clause. In other words, we use a colon to join 2 independent clauses when the second clause is a kind of definition or maybe explanation or summary about the first one. Absolutely, we have to mention some examples. You can also use a semicolon or a period between 2 independent clauses that are related. So let's discuss this rule. Let me show you the next page and let me tell you what I meant. So we said that we have to use colons to separate independent clauses. So notice that the example is saying the results were in. What are the results? Colon, Madonna had won the Grammy. Okay. So notice this is independent clause. This is independent clause. So I can use colon to separate the independent clauses, or let me say complete. The clauses
Mm.
that have complete meaning. The next example is saying the judge made her decision. What is that decision that the judge made? Colon, we lost the case.
Okay.
So, oh, please, this is really important. Be careful. And now I have to explain the next rule. The next rule of using the colon is saying we have to use a colon before a quote when, wait, let me, when the quote or the quotation is introduced by a complete sentence.
Mm.
Absolutely, we have some examples. Notice the example, this is the normal sentence about quotation. Jack said,
Okay.
exactly, so these are the two inverted commas. We have quotation marks. Let's go to the cinema. So notice that, I mean, let's check the difference between these two sentences. The next one we have, Jack had one rule. We will not watch a horror movie. Okay. Now notice that the second one is a quote that is introduced by a complete sentence. Notice that this is a complete sentence. This is number one. And we notice that Jack had one rule. What is that one rule that Jack had? Let me tell you. Colon. Okay, absolutely, because it is a quotation. I have to write the two inverted commas. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, some students asked me, teacher, can I use two punctuation marks together next to each other? Absolutely. Notice that I use the colon
Mm.
and I use the quotation marks or the two inverted commas next to each other. It's absolutely correct because here we have comma and punctuation marks. But because I want to mention that one rule, and because it is introduced by a complete sentence, so this is why I have to write a column. Okay?
Okay.
So this is normal sentence. I mean, bring a jacket tomorrow. So notice that I started my sentence with a verb. And the next one, if I want to say, she offered the following advice. What is the following advice that she offered? Bring an umbrella because it's going to rain tomorrow. So notice that because it's going to rain tomorrow, it's going to rain tomorrow, it is introduced by a complete sentence. So because of that, I have to write the color.
Okay.
Okay, so now I think we have to go to the next page. Now, the next rule of using colons is saying in a presentation, we use, for example, a presentation, absolutely, we use colons to introduce a polluted or bullet points, I mean here by bullet points, or numbered list. These are the bullet points that I mean. So notice this circle, this dark circle is
Mm.
called bullet point. Now, if you want to mention bullet points in a certain presentation or an interview or anything, any list, I mean, it's not a must to be a presentation. Absolutely, we have to use the column. Notice the example is saying, in today's lesson, we will practice. We will practice what? Let me tell you. Colon, this is the first bullet point. Grammar, the second bullet point, or the second thing. Punctuation, the third thing, which is the third bullet point, is spelling. And the final bullet point is writing. And even if you
Okay.
want to mention them by writing numbers,
Mm.
absolutely, you have to use columns. So this is the example. So notice that backpack, jacket, water bottle, hiking boots. So these are the things that we need for our campers. So campers need to bring what for camping? They need backpack, they need jacket, they need water bottle, they need hiking boots. So these are the four things. And because I numbered them, I have to use a color. And because I wrote bullet points, bulleted, I have to use what? A color. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I know that the colon is really important. Now, let's practice and let's check which of these sentences require colons. What do you think?
Okay. The results were, and we had a new president. After and
Yeah, the results were in. What are the results? We had,
had a new president.
bravo. Okay, what about the next one?
After North America.
Okay, so there are three countries in North America. Let me tell you the countries. One, Canada, United States, and Mexico.
Okay. After R.
Yeah, exactly. So the three countries in North America are, let me tell you, colon, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Exactly. What about the next one?
After two.
After two, so after university, I want to travel to.
Two.
Oh,
Two. Yeah.
okay. Wait. Do you think that here I have to use a colon? What about the next one?
After. After university.
Yeah, exactly. So notice that in this sentence, I don't need a colon. Exactly, because if I
Not
want to
completed.
exactly, yes. But in the second one, I want to travel to three countries.
Places.
What are they? Absolutely. Colon, places after university. Colon, Australia, New Zealand, and
Yeah.
China. What
Yeah.
about the next one?
After his last words.
After his last words, exactly. I'll never forget his last words. What are they? Let me tell you. Colon,
You can do
and
anything.
exactly, because this is what he said. I have to write quotation marks.
Quotation mark. I couldn't decide what to do. Okay. Two options. So after stay.
After
Oh,
stay,
sorry. To do. After to do.
yes,
The first
exactly.
option, stay with him, or the second one, break up with him.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So I couldn't decide what to do. Let me tell you. Stay with
Mm.
him or break up with him and
And
start
start
over. Exactly. So
Mm.
please be careful about using the colon because you notice that it is really important. So this is the final example I want to discuss. So notice that rapid urbanization has led to multiple problems. What are they? Especially if you want to write numbers, many, much, multiple. So what are the problems or the multiple problems that you meant? So congestion, this is number one, air pollution and a shortage of affordable housing for families. So we notice that I have to use colors. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the final example, which is saying, I can promise you one thing. What is it? Let me tell you about my promise, because I said one, you won't regret your decision. So please, if you want to number the things, you have to be careful because you have to use the column. Okay?
Even it's just one sentence or
Even if
one.
it is only one. Exactly. You notice that this is only one sentence, Malak.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is only one sentence. And even the promise, you said that only one thing. And even if
Once.
it is only one, absolutely, I have to write the column. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
because your question is asked before from many students because they said that, but teacher, it's only one. We said that it's just maybe I mean, maybe we have things or items to say. It's only one. Even if it is only one, I need to know this one promise that you want to tell. Okay?
Okay. Mm.
So this is it. Again, please be careful about the colon because it is really important. Lift all his best when okay. Now let's discuss the final example. We discussed this, but The final example is saying he left all of his money to his best friend in the whole world. Who is that? Who is he or who is she or who is it? Let me tell you. Colin, his cat.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
So this is it. This is everything about the column. Be careful because sometimes it is little confusing.
Mm.
So we have to discuss talking about the semicolon, but I suggest to leave right now just to separate the video and to name every video with a certain punctuation mark. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm waiting for you just to discuss the semicolon. Thank you, Mara.